Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Late Night Intercourse with Choma. Of course, your host is Choma Onyenucheya Uko, the Zast family lawyer. It's always a delight for me to bring you this enlightening, weekly conversation on family law issues. And I know you appreciate it, but please kindly invite your friends and your family to join us so that they can also partake from this enlightenment. Please do that quickly, and I'll be most grateful. And while at it, I'd love for you to tell me where you're watching me from. Please, can you just comment already? Can you just tell me in the comment section right now, where are you watching me from? Where are you joining me from? I want to know where you're joining live from. I want to know which town, which city, possibly which state, where I have my highest number of, participants. So please let me know. Yes, that is it. So if you remember last week during last week's episode of the Late Night Intercourse, one of the participants, I think it was Leo Smart, yes it was, who suggested that he'd like for us to discuss third-party interference in marriage. Yes, I think that's what he called it. He called it third-party influence, I think, yes. He said he'd like for us to discuss that. And if you remember, I always tell you that if there's any subject you'd like for us to discuss, that you should please feel free to either drop it in the comment section, send a message to me inbox, on our published number, or send us an email on our email address. And if you do this, I will be more than happy to discuss that topic. And in line with that premise, I am bringing to you that topic that Leo Smart asked that we discussed tonight, which is third-party influence in marriage. So we're going to start by first of all understanding what third-party influence is. When can we say that there is a third-party influence in a marriage? So third-party influence can be described as, an interference or an influence by a person, an external person or entity or factor, by someone who is not a part of that marriage union, by an external person who is a third party, whether as a person or an entity or even a factor that affects or impacts the affairs of the couple. So anything that is external that influences or impacts or interferes with the affairs of a union is a third party influence. So that is to say that once there is a third party, an external influence or factor that gets involved in the affairs of a couple, that person becomes a third party influence. While we want to preserve the sanctity or the intimacy of the union between a man and a woman, chances are that sometimes third party influences are unavoidable. Sometimes they are positive. At other times, they may be negative. So, while we encourage couples to maintain their bond and not allow external interferences that may jeopardize their union, we need to also acknowledge that sometimes external influences can be the reason a marriage thrives, can also be the reason a marriage, stands on good footing and develops better. So, bearing that in mind, what are some of those third-party influences? What are some of those sources where one can get third-party influences? Because if we're unable to identify, maybe define what it means, identify where it can come from, it will be difficult for us to now get into the next level of understanding how to handle, how to manage those third-party influences. So I'll start by, enlisting the sources, the, places or the people or the things that can constitute third-party influences. I'll start by mentioning family and friends. Of course, that would easily be the most obvious. Family and friends are third-party influences. Sometimes, like I said, they can be positive influences. They can also be negative influences. So sometimes when you get counsel, or when a couple gets counsel from their parents, from their siblings, from their other relations and close friends, what they're getting external influence. And because that external influence can be negative or positive, it means that depending on the personalities, depending on the orientation and the disposition of those persons who are members of their families or who are their friends, the influence they get may help them or may destroy what they have. So sometimes our families are the reasons we sit up. We want to impress them. We want to continue to uphold the good values they have entrusted, they have equipped us with, that they have shown to us, that they have modeled for us. And because we want to do that, we are careful to ensure that we show our spouses the kind of love that we witnessed from our parents. We show our spouses the kind of respect that our parents will be proud of. We support our spouses. We build them up. We honor them as we have seen our parents or other members of our family or friends that we hold in esteem. That can happen. It is also possible that because our family members are not people of impressive morals, there will be people who would give us wrong counsel, who would instigate us against our spouses. There may be people who will tell you things like, no, you don't share money with a man. No, you don't tell your wife what you are up to. No, you don't do this, you don't do that. Oh, no, you don't tolerate a thing. No, don't even cede an inch, not to talk of a mile. So even from family and friends, as third-party influences, they can also be harmful influences. So the important thing is to be discerning so that you identify whether, either as your family or your friend, what you're getting is qualitative, worthwhile influence. The other level of influence I want to talk about will be influence from religious and cultural groups. There are many people who will believe whatever their, maybe members of their community, their tribes people, maybe their traditional rulers, or even their religious mentors, maybe their pastors, their imams. Anything they say becomes gospel. It becomes the law. There are people who will not sleep with their wives or their husbands because their pastor said so. There are people who will not do a thing or the other just because of something their community is believed to practice. They will tell you, no. In my community, you can never allow a woman to sleep by the edge of the bed. Oh, no. In my village, in fact, before a woman can eat, she has to obtain permission from her husband. And things like that. So, religious and cultural groups can be a great influence, a third-party influence, of course, in a marriage. Then the other form of influence can also be professional service providers. Like I said, don't you lose note. I don't want you to lose note of the fact that I already told you that for every form of third-party influence, it can be positive and it can be negative. Don't lose that thought, okay? All right. So, having reiterated that, the other level of third-party influence is professional service providers. And this could include counselors, healthcare service providers, your lawyers, all of those, financial advisors, and the rest of them. sometimes based on the quality of counsel you get from them or a married person gets from them, it may influence their relationship within the marriage union. There are women who probably, because their doctor said to them that they need to adopt maybe a form of family planning, may decide that, no, I'm not going to share it with my husband. I won't tell him. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. My doctor says it is good for my health, so I'll just go and do it. Yes, it is good for your health and you should do it by all means. But that doesn't mean that you don't share with your husband. Unless you're telling me that you're living with a man who doesn't care about your well-being, who is willing to put your life at risk, in which case it won't just be the doctor's advice that now warns you of the danger that you're in. So sometimes people may take steps or take actions that are premised on what they have been advised by the professional service providers in their lives. There are people who set aside funds and open secret accounts because their financial advisor gave them one counsel or the other. And sometimes there are people who learn something that improves their relationship because they got the right counseling from maybe a marriage coach, from a counselor, maybe from their legal advisor, their lawyer, the family lawyer. It could be any of those. So it could be positive, it could be negative. And then the other form of third-party influence, colleagues and social circles. So you find that amongst your colleagues, amongst, the persons in your social circle, you share things. You discuss what's happening in your marriage and all of those. Sometimes, yes. And then somebody tells you, maybe if you spoke to your wife more in a more caring tone, in a more affectionate tone, maybe she will respond better. Or, I did this with my husband and he was so happy with me, and I saw how that boosted our relationship. And then you copy it, you replicate it in your home, and you see that it also works for you. So yes, sometimes from your colleagues, from your social circle, you may learn things that can impact your marriage positively or negatively. It could be that they teach you something about maybe just documenting the great things you like about your spouse, and then in documenting it you begin to realize that, whoa, I have a lot of things I should appreciate him or her for. I have every reason to be grateful for having this person in my life. Oh wow, I do understand how much a gift he or she was or is. So sometimes, of course, yes, it could also be that because of your interactions, the influence you're getting from third parties like your colleagues and your social circle, you begin to now keep nocturnal relationships. You begin to keep secrets from your spouse. You begin to adopt attitudes that are negative and harmful to your relationship. So yes, it also swings. It could swing either way. So, but colleagues and one social circle can also be a source of third-party influence. And then you have social and other media. Yes, it's the times we live in. The internet is here with us. But of course, it's not only the internet. We've always had the television for quite a long while, yes. Not always, but we've had television for a long time. The radio and all of those. Newspapers, magazines, name them. All of those media are direct influence or indirect influence on your marriage. And you may be imagining how. So I'm having a conversation with you tonight. And this conversation is happening via a medium, being the social media. And you're learning something from what I'm saying tonight. By the time you take what you've learned from me into your home, into your relationship, it means I've become a third-party influence. Though it came from a professional, it came via social media. In the same wise, you find a lot of junk in media spaces. You find unverifiable counsel. You find unprofessional counsel. You find immoral counsel. You find people who may not even be lending counsel per se, but their conduct, the things they do, is of such, compelling attraction that you may inadvertently begin to emulate them or adopt those things you hear or see. It may be in the manner of the way you begin to dress. It may be in the manner of the way you begin to talk. It may even be in the manner of the things you're willing to do or not do with your spouse. All of those things are third-party influences. And there is a lot of that happening, across the media spaces. Whether they be on television, or they be on social media, or even on print media. So the media can be a form of third-party influence on your marriage. Then, interests and hobbies. What are those interests of yours? What are those hobbies of yours? What are those things you like to spend your time on? What are those pastime, those things that you do? How do you spend your evenings? How do you spend your weekends? What do you do when you're not with your spouse? And what are those things that even occupy you in the presence of your spouse? For many, it is the incessant, taps, flips, and all of that on our devices. Sometimes we don't even realize that our spouse is right beside us and probably sharing how their day went, and we're lost in the world of what's happening in social media. It could just be that, because you like to hang out with the boys or with the girls, you don't care how your spouse feels. Whether they're lonely, you may not even observe, you may not even notice. It may be intoxicating substances. It may be an addiction to drugs or something. It may be sports. It can be anything, games, including gambling and the rest of them. Those things can constitute an influence on your marriage. If they are positive interests, if they are positive hobbies, chances are that you will, adapt things from there that will impact on your home. If, for example, your favorite pastime, your hobby or your interest is gardening, chances are that you may begin to cultivate healthier foods for your home. It will even improve the health of your family members. It may be that you like to knit, you like to sew, which means that before your spouse's shirt is torn, you're already sticking on the button or something, But if your hobby or your favorite pastime, the interest you have developed is gambling, you may also fritter away the resources of the family. You gamble everything away and leave your family in penury and want. So that is also a source of third-party influence in the home. So bottom line, third-party influence can manifest in the form of an involvement of a person or an entity, or the interference or incursion of external factors into the affairs of a couple, into the affairs of, a family. And when that happens, so long as it impacts, influences, or interferes in the affairs of that couple, positively or negatively, it would be qualified as third-party influence. Now that we've gotten here, I'm sure that you already are possibly brimming with questions or, opinions of yours. As usual, you know that you can feel free to drop them already. Just drop them for me. I'll be checking to see who has a question for me or who has a comment, and I'll respond appropriately. In fact, tonight, I'm going to be doing more of typing, I think. So I'll be responding to you right in the comment section as we progress. So please drop your questions, drop your comments, and as usual, we will be winning prizes tonight. After all, Christmas is in the air. Yeah, Christmas is just next week. So even if you're not a Christian, it's the end of the year, it's holiday season, so we will be winning prizes. And I'm going to be generous tonight But you have to do the prerequisites. You know what you have to do? Share, comment, and I hope you've told me where you're watching from, because all of those will count in my choice, in my selection of who wins my prizes tonight. Yeah, I'll be generous, but there will be qualifiers. Yes. So, having defined third-party influence and listed some sources of third-party influence, the next thing we will be discussing will be, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to manage third-party influence? But you know what? I think that will be too much on your plate for one night. So I'm going to stop tonight's lesson right here, and in our next episode of the Late Night Intercourse with Chioma, we will be discussing, I will be x-raying for you, teaching you some of the ways that you can effectively and legally manage third-party influences. So, having gotten here, I think this will be a good place to rest it. I'll be responding to your comments and your questions. I said I'll be typing more tonight, so I'll be typing my responses to your comments and to your questions. And while I'm getting ready to do that, I think I should pose my own question now, so that we see who become my winners tonight. So my question will be, of the listed sources of third-party influence, can you mention 4 that resonates the best with you? Tell me why you're mentioning the 4. Don't just list 4 for me. You will list 4 and you will tell me why you selected those 4 that you're listing. Of course, as usual, fastest finger will count. The quality of your response will also matter to me. We're going to have more than the usual 3 to 4 winners tonight, but of course, there will be a star prize winner. And tonight, the star prize winner will get better than I usually offer. So, I'm sure you want to be that person. Let's get on it already. I'm going to rest the video here so that we go chatting, so that I respond to your questions, acknowledge the winners, and we enjoy the holidays. Merry Christmas ahead, because the next time I come to you will be after Christmas. As always, I love you. Thank you very much for always having this intercourse with me. I do not take it for granted. And I hope that I am a positive influence by the enlightening topics I bring to you on every episode of the Late Night Intercourse. Please be generous. Can you just tell me in the comment section how episodes of the Late Night Intercourse has impacted your life, and how you think, what is commendable about bringing you this talk show every Thursday at 10 p.m. I want to read it. Please tell me in the comment section. And thank you so much. I pray you have a beautiful holidays, and I pray that your relationships and your marriages thrive. Above all, I pray that you truly thrive. I love you. Do have a restful night. Bye-bye.